10, 9, ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. Liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour. Liftoff on Apollo 11. Clear the tower. Roger tower.
Welcome to the Alien Probe Podcast. It is Saturday, January 17th, 2026. I'm Doug. This is Matt. Joining us today is Stephen Ford, author extraordinaire. 5 books, Stephen. That's the record.
I think it's more.
Is it more than 5? How many?
I published one other under a different name, so I suppose technically 6.
What was the other 5.
One? The Dog Walker?
Shall we say it's slightly erotic.
Oh wow! Okay, we're in.
I'm probably.
Hey, that's one of my favorite topics.
Let's just stick to the 5.
We'll come back to that one. That's the next show.
All right, so we'll talk about these 5 books. You started out with Destiny of a Free Speech.
Free Spirit. Free Spirit.
Free Spirit. Yeah. I can't read, apparently, like 4th grade education. Okay. Give us a little insight on that book.
Okay, well, it's set after a nuclear war. You okay? Is there an issue?
Yeah, we're all right.
No, okay. Yeah, it's set after a nuclear war. It's not really about the nuclear war. It's about the new structure that's set up after the nuclear war, so the new society. And what's happened is that this organization called the Commission now kind of supervises humanity and makes sure we don't have any more wars. And it's a bit like the United Nations, but with knobs on to make it effective, unlike the United Nations. So the idea is it has 2 main missions, the Commission. It has to prevent war and to clean up the planet after the mess that humans have made of it. Not only the nuclear war, but all the other pollution and global warming and all the other things that we're doing to the place. And what has been set up is 2 realms. There's a realm called Economica, which is like the modern world with robots and every need taken care of. And humans live a life of luxury, but it's kind of nation states still exist, governments still exist, society still exists, and so things haven't changed that much because I think there's certain fundamental things about humans that don't change, whatever the technological background or whatever exists. And the Commission has a fairly hands-off attitude, so people can carry on expressing their own cultures. In fact, one of the remits for the Commission is to protect human culture and to allow people to maintain their own cultures. So the nation states exist and have their own cultures within their own realms. And the Commission controls relationships between countries in order to prevent war and also to keep the cultures protected, so that so there isn't massive immigration and that kind of thing, which can dilute cultures. The other world, the other side of it, is an environment called ecologia, and that is like a giant nature reserve, if you will, and it's been repopulated with previously extinct beasts that have been recreated with genetic engineering. So there's mammoths, saber cats.
Like a Jurassic Park, but not as violent.
Yeah, it's not Jurassic Park because there aren't dinosaurs. It applies to seen worlds that existed when humans evolved. So the only people living there are Stone Age, and they're not allowed to have any technology at all. They have to live off the land using the materials that would have been available to Stone Age people in a Stone Age way.
I can't do that. I can't even go around the block without my phone. I don't know.
Well, you're used to it. They're probably not used to anything at this point.
Full-on panic attack.
And of course, those humans, that the few in Ecologia, and there are not a lot of them, have to live alongside packs of wolves, bears, mammoths,
all kinds
all
of
the rest
beasts.
of it.
Right.
Yeah, and they're not any way privileged. They're just another one of the beasts that populate that world.
Right.
And the two worlds are kept strictly apart. So nobody from Economica is allowed to enter Ecologia, and nobody from Ecologia is allowed to escape. And they'd be pretty lost if they got to Economica anyway.
Yeah, they're not going to make it.
And the main thrust is that one particular person has, the hero of the book, has figured out a portal between the two realms, which are sort of ancient Roman mine workings. It's set in England, so there were mine workings at that time, a couple of thousand years ago, and they're not on any map, but he's found a way through, so he can go through between the two realms at will, and he set himself up with an existence in both realms. And towards the end of the book, the portal is about to be closed, so he has to make up his mind which of the two realms he's going to reside in. And I'm not going to say which he chooses, because you need to read the book.
Right.
You don't know till the last chapter.
Want it to be a surprise.
But the main question I'm asking is, which is more natural for humans? Is it the world we evolved in, the Pleistocene world, the wild existence, and all our instincts and the way we're set up is designed to live in that world? Or is it the modern world that we currently live in, that we haven't been designed to live in at all? We're sort of like fish out of water, really, in the modern world in many respects. So I'm making that contrast and posing that question. So that's really what Destiny of a Free Spirit's about.
It seems your lifespan wouldn't be as long on the primitive. You get eaten by whatever animal, or you get a disease. There's no medicine. Well, there's natural medicine, probably, right? So
you're strong.
I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out which. I like technology, but I also like nature. So
you want to wrestle a bear, or
I don't really want to wrestle a bear or get eaten by a saber-toothed tiger or whatever. But that's an interesting contrast between the two worlds for sure.
Right.
It's a kind of a conundrum of which side I would choose. That's a great book. So that's Destiny of a Free Spirit.
That's not a very long. It's like 300 pages, right? It's not a very long read either. It seems.
I can't remember how many words, about 80,000 words, something like that.
Right.
That's
good.
That feels about right for me for a novel. I think that you can pad them out too much.
I think they tend to go too long, whereas because I know Stephen King's got like 1,100 page book with details. 300 of it is details of the character, and I don't need to know that much. So I like something short and sweet.
What got you into writing, Stephen? Story of Thunder.
Okay, well I think I used to be in IT. I had 40 years working in IT, so that was my sort of primary career, and this is my retirement. My new retirement career is writing. But I when I was at school, I always used to get sort of high marks for my essays and things, and I didn't really know why, because I thought, I just write some stuff, and then when I in IT, now it's a very dry subject. It's not something that one would choose to read unless one has to. But I used to try and make my reports and training material and that kind of thing that I did have to write in that career. I tried to make it interesting and amusing and give it a bit of pizzazz. And people used to giggle when they read my stuff, technical stuff. So I definitely thought, maybe I got something here. I can sort of put my ideas across in a way that amuses people. So then thought. The world started going crazy after about when I retired, which was 10 years ago now. And I got fed up of throwing things at the TV and just sort of ranting from my sofa. So I thought, actually, get it out of my system. I want to write something. I want to write about it. But I don't want to write a polemic. I don't want to write you get a lot of those, you one-sided point of view, where everyone just hammers people with their own viewpoint. And I prefer to explore a subject from all angles,
right,
and not really favour one angle or another. So I'm not going to. You shouldn't be able to tell from reading my books whether I'm a liberal or a conservative, for example. That's not what they're about.
Right.
They're about. I would like to put the liberal point of view and the conservative point of view and other points of view. Explore a subject in the round, and let people make up their own mind.
Yep.
But make sure that I really explored it in a way that probably people wouldn't have done.
Right. That's a good idea.
So are you a moderate? I mean, you're not political here. Would you consider yourself liberal or conservative or kind of in the middle and the moderate? Or we're not that.
Yeah, I would say probably. It depends on the topic, right, on the issue.
Yeah.
Because I look at things issue by issue, and on some issues I take a liberal point of view, and other issues I'll take a conservative point of view, based on their merits. What I find about politics is most concerning is the polarisation, and the fact that the people on the opposite sides can't talk to each other anymore. No reaching across the aisle. No. These days, it's just the other lot are just evil, and you just got to throw insults at them the whole time, and you can't talk sensibly.
What's he referring to? Does this happen in your parliament, right? You guys, I mean, you don't have this do you have the same kind of thing going on?
I bet you they do.
Do you have the same kind of insults thrown at each other?
Oh God, yeah. Most certainly. I think the polarization is a global thing. You see it in most countries. I think the USA is probably perhaps one of the most extreme right now. But I think the same tendencies exist, whichever country you look at. And I think well, jumping ahead to one of my later books, the No Free Speech for Hate book, is where I've got most political, because there I'm really addressing this polarization, and what I'm exploring is why do people vote for somebody like, say, Trump or in our case Farage, our equivalent. Why do people jump for that option? And actually, one reason is that the Liberal offering it isn't particularly attractive.
Yes,
right.
The opposite. The choices were very limited.
It's the lesser of two evils, you would think, but sometimes they're wrong. But go ahead.
And I wanted to put up a mirror in No Free Speech for Hate. I'm trying to put up a mirror for the Liberals to look at themselves. See, look what you look like. Look what you're like. And it's set in a university, a very progressive university. The government is a liberal socialist government. It is set in England again. Everything's set in England because I'm English. I'm exploring all this cancel culture, the sort of myriad of genders, trans thing, all of that. Telling everybody what your pronouns are, all that kind of stuff, really just trying to say, well, it's not very liberal, is it? You're not very tolerant.
No.
In fact, you're totally intolerant of anybody who doesn't subscribe to this point of view.
They yell at you.
And in the background, and what's happened is the universities have expanded their remit. I focus on the universities. I think that's where it stems from.
Absolutely.
They've created practically everything these days is a graduate profession.
Yep.
Which, when I was starting out, you could be a nurse, a police officer, all sorts of things. and you weren't a graduate, it wasn't normal to be a graduate in those professions. Right. Now, you have to be a graduate in law enforcement or a graduate in nursing or something like that. You've gone to college in order to get to those kind of roles. And so in my world that I'm painting, just about everything, refuse collection, cleaning offices, whatever it is. You have to be a graduate for that because you need to know what the cleaning chemicals are and all this kind of thing. And so you can't. What they've done is they've sort of taken over the whole economy to everything, the universities, and you have to go through like 4 years of indoctrination in their political attitudes in order to. In fact, in my book, unless you subscribe to their political attitudes, you don't even get into college. It's one of the sort of the main requirements. And so you've got this, and of course, you're the people who go to government if you know nobody's going to be in a managerial position unless they've been to college. So what you've left with is an underclass of people who aren't in this world, and they're being organised by this populist demagogue character who's in the background, who organises them, and they end up in the book. They end up having a revolution, overthrowing the liberal socialists, and the populist demagogue takes over. So it's sort of mirroring what's happening in the world.
All right.
But I'm not taking sides. I'm not saying which is worse. They're both terrible. But I'm not saying which is worse, the demagogues or the politically correct folk. But I'm just trying to show how screwed up our whole political setup has become.
How bad the system is. Left wing, right wing, they're all the same bird.
Yeah.
Somewhere in the middle on what you believe, I think is the best option.
Do they have student loans in this? Or how do they?
You have to subscribe. So
how do they pay for their schooling? Do you go into that?
I don't. I think because it's a liberal socialist, it'll be free college.
Yeah. It's Star Trek, like Star Trek.
Just automatically. As long as
you just go, well, that's good. That's a good society, I think. I mean, really.
And that one's no free speech for hate, right?
Yeah, I jumped ahead. So
no, that's okay.
It's not in sequence.
Yeah. Okay, let's roll to the second. Okay.
To keep us all safe, is that the second one?
Let's do that. Second one let's go to chronological order how you wrote them, and we'll end up with the newer books.
Okay, so the next one I wrote after Destiny of the Free Spirit was Walking Out of This World.
Okay.
And that's one where I explore the paranormal. So one of the things I do is I'm one of these crazy people who hikes long distances over mountains and in the countryside.
You're a long distance hiker or walker, right?
I am. Yeah.
I have a few questions about that when you're ready.
So we don't get out of bed to walk less than 20 miles, and it's over rough terrain. So it's not 20 miles on the flat on paving. So that's something I do and have done for many years. I've done a lot of walking in the Alps and the mountains there, Pyrenees, places in Europe, mountains in Romania where there's all kinds of bears and wolves and that kind of thing. So I like that kind of stuff. So the one of the main characters in the book is an organizer within what I've called the Far and Fast Walkers Association, which is not the same name as the organisation I'm a member of, because I don't want to get sued by the things I say about them.
Right.
But he's organising a walk. It's in October, November time in the autumn in the UK, right. So that the weather's turning,
drizzly, white, moisture,
wet and horrible, and
right.
It's on such a wet day that there's a walk being organised, and people just turn up for our walks. We sort of put them up, published the timetable, and new members can turn up, and try us out if they want. So we do expect new people to come from time to time. And there's a new arrival in the group, and there's something a bit unusual about him. He knows things about people. He's talking to people, and suddenly there's things he says that indicate that he's kind of seen in their head somewhere. And so it's slightly unsettling. But anyway, he joins the group, and they stop at lunchtime, and the organizer of the walk has that they're going to sit out in the rain, sitting on logs in a clearing in the forest, and eat their sandwiches. And this new guy says, well, why don't we go to this pub that's I know very, very close by, and we can all get in the warm and have something nice to eat and drink and whatever. And I know the landlord there; he'll be very helpful. And the guy who's organising the walk says, "There's nothing like that round here. We're in the middle of nowhere. Right. It's not one within a couple of miles at least." Right. But he said, "Oh no, it's here. I can take you there." So he does, and they get to this place that's not on any map, and it's kind of old-fashioned place. It's somewhere that looks a bit, all the buildings are quite.
It shouldn't be there.
Quite old. Shouldn't be there, but they get into this in the pub, and they meet people from their past. Everyone seems to meet somebody they knew from like 30 years ago, and they love affairs that never quite happened. Might have been situations, and suddenly they're meeting these people that they've been thinking about over all these years. What if I, gone that path rather than the path I took? And they get drawn into this. There's nostalgia, and then they want to get back there. And this guy turns up. They get to this clearing in the forest. He'll appear, and he'll guide them there. So they sort of try to get back to this place, and that goes on for a while. And we delve into how this is happening, what sort of guy this is. Is it spirit? Is it spirit world that we're in? And we kind of explore that aspect. And then this guy starts to kind of lose strength, and this other figure appears, suddenly supersedes him. And she's a figure called Lucifix.
Ooh. Yeah.
I like the name.
And as you might have gathered, she's a she-devil. So in my book, the devil is a woman.
Yes.
Or female devil.
That could be true in real life, too.
Pretty true, yeah.
And she draws the people into another realm entirely.
Oh, no.
They think they're going back to this nice, cozy world.
They're not.
And they're going to a place of torment and terror.
Yeah, of course. Trickery.
And not only that, there's no way back. Whereas the first place, they come back. But the first spirit, Miles, he's been killed by Lucifix. She's killed, murdered him. But somehow or other he gets resurrected, and after being resurrected, he's like the savior. And there's a battle royal between Miles, the sort of the good spirit, and Lucifix, the bad spirit. Wow. And he managed to rescue the people.
The battle of good and evil.
Yeah.
So that's it. So I'm weaving in sort of religious themes,
right?
Like Christianity, and heaven and hell, and all those kind of things into the book.
So these walks that you normally take, you ever find anything very interesting? Any experiences?
Well, my own experiences, not so much in this country, in the UK, but I've come across a lynx once when I was out walking, which is very unusual because there aren't many around.
Right.
A lynx is kind of like a bit like a mountain lion, that kind of thing, a big cat.
Yeah.
And that was a kind of quite a nice, cool thing to suddenly come across. And I was working on my own. I mean, forget health and safety. I'm afraid health and safety goes out the window completely.
You don't carry a gun or anything?
shouldn't go out alone, blah, blah, blah. But I don't care.
Unarmed. I don't know.
Unarmed, yeah.
Bear spray or something.
But I like that. I like being out there in the wild and being there, and being
never
part of it.
knowing what's going to happen, I imagine.
Yeah. So I've had so the lynx was good. I mean, nothing happened to the lynx. We looked at each other.
It probably ran away from
they
you.
Don't like people that much.
And it ran away. We stared at each other for a few seconds and it ran away.
Yep.
So it was no big deal. I've enjoyed being amongst marmots because, again, if you're normally marmots, that's like what are they in America? Groundhogs or something like that.
Okay.
Similar thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They make an alarm call if you make a fuss and make any noise, and they all disappear down their burrows. And they're gone. So you don't normally get within more than about 100 yards, 200 yards of those. But on my own, it's not the same. You don't make much noise. I don't.
Right. You're quiet. You're not talking to anybody.
Yeah.
Not talking to anybody. It's just me.
Yeah.
I'm not alarming them. So I got right in the middle of all these marmots. I mean, I was surrounded by about 20 or 30 of them.
Wow. Oh.
And literally within 10, 20 feet of all these creatures. And they once I was that close, they did take note. And before that, they didn't bother about it. But
right.
And we just sort of stood there. I just stood there. I didn't make any move to attack them or upset them. And they looked at me, and then one particular marmot decided he'd had enough and went down the burrow. Then once he went down, they all went down.
They all went down, yeah, like a mass, yeah.
Yeah, but I should think probably for a minute or more, I was just stood around. And that's really nice,
Yeah.
And another occasion, this was a bit more hairy, mountain goats. I was up on a path, and it was a narrow path on a ledge. So there was a precipice going up on one side, a precipice going down on the other side.
Right.
And the mountain goats, the ibexes, which are the ones with the huge, great big horns.
Yeah.
Can they be aggressive towards people?
Well, I've always found that they don't care about people at all.
At all.
Because they're not hunted.
Right.
So nobody threatens them. They're about the same size as people.
Right.
So they're not frightened of you because.
So they're probably not territorial.
They're not territorial. Well, they might be territorial to other ibexes. I don't know.
Right, to other goats, but not towards you.
Yeah, but they don't care. You can just walk through them and they just sort of ignore you. And,
wow. Wow.
So you can get really quite close. But on this occasion, the ibexes were all packed on this path. They decided it's a nice place to be, and they weren't going to move. And I wanted to get through because it was either go back or go through them. So I thought, what should I do? I thought, all right, well, I'll go through. So I started to shove my way through, and they weren't getting out of the way. They make a noise. They don't care. They just stay there. So I was sort of just shoving my way through, and I think it was mostly the females I was shoving around, and they weren't upset by it, but they weren't getting out of my way either. And then this bloody great billy goat, the big male, alpha male guy, he decided he didn't like me messing with his females.
Right. So you're about to get the horns.
Yep.
So he came at me.
Side.
With the horns straight at me, and so I grabbed the horns, tried to tip him over. Now you can't tip a goat over.
No,
because
even the little ones are hard.
They're really sure-footed. They don't go over. But I did at least manage to prevent myself from being gored by the
or thrown off the side of the cliff.
Wow. So I would push and shove. So I did sort of get round the side of him eventually. Squeezed around the side of it. So then he was coming at me from behind.
Oh, no.
Which was kind of okay because I wanted to go in that direction anyway.
Here's a little help.
Yeah. So I was quite got bruised by that encounter. I mean, it was like being football tackles. And these are big beasts. They've got weight behind them. So that was mountain goat experience. So I've had a few.
You ever take pictures or have a GoPro or anything with you, or?
No? I don't really. I take old pictures. I've got a camera,
right?
But I don't. I'm not a great picture taker.
So we have to ask this. This is what we do. Have you seen any paranormal, UFO type related anything ever? I mean, in your life, not just on your walks, but experience anything like that?
Well, I wouldn't say anything that unexplainable as such. What I do though is I'm out in the wilds. I have the same feeling spirit as the primitive people would have had. That I feel as spirits in the rivers, spirits in the trees. There's a living essence there that exists somehow. That's something beyond just the physical. I get that. I strongly get that vibe, that feel.
Yeah.
And I try to write about that. Try to get that into my books. That feeling. Now, whether that's just my brain, the way my brain's imagining things and whatever, or whether there's any truth in that, I don't know.
Yeah, there's an energy or a force.
Has it been something that's really affected you, or maybe shown itself to you other than the vibe?
What you mean, some kind of tangible event?
Yeah, some kind of experience, or you woke up and I looked out the window and I saw something, or something was at my bedside, or anything close like that. No,
I think I've kind of felt that. Whether it was again just my mind playing tricks, or whether it was reality, I'm not sure. But in my grandmother's house that she had when I was a very young child, she had an old Elizabethan farmhouse.
Here we go.
That had been in the family.
Here we go.
And so it's a really creepy, haunted type place, and goodness knows how many generations had lived there.
Correct. A lot of people.
Else. And certainly I got feelings there that there were other people and other things around the place, spirits and stuff. And that was a very young age. But again, it might have just been the ambience of the place that does that. Or maybe they were there. Maybe there were ghosts.
I think all grandma houses are haunted. Yeah. I know mine was. There was something upstairs, and I did not want anything to do with it.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, and then next, the Glastonbury Triangle. That looks like a mythology-driven fantasy with sci-fi madness. Tell us about that one, Stephen.
Okay, well, that's the one I really had fun with. I just throw everything into this book.
Just the whole pot.
Yeah. Well, Glastonbury is a weird place, and I went there to do a bit of research and just be there, just talk to the people. And
it's an actual place.
Go and place. Oh, Glastonbury is a real place, definitely. Right. Oh yeah, I mean it's the main centre, I would say, in England, where all the alternative people collect. Or everybody who's into hippie things and alternate religions and fairy tales and legends and everything like that. And the shops in the place, they sell you all sorts of crystals that have strange powers and pagan stuff, witchcraft, books on paranormal and spirits and legends and all the rest of it. It all kind of mixed up in a great big pot, so that it's not only one type of legend. It's legends with Eastern religions mixed up with Viking, type Scandinavian religions, Celtic religions, ancient Greek stuff. It's all there. So it's a fascinating place. Right. So I was kind of inspired by this, and I thought, well, I want to have a book set there, and meld all this stuff in, and describe how it all kind of interacts with the rest of society. The plot of my book is the main character is a journalist, and a fairly young journalist who is there to do a feature on a theme park, an Arthurian theme park that's run by an eccentric marquis. So he reenacts all the Arthurian legends and that sort of thing. And while he's there, there's a police raid on the place because they're investigating disappeared people. People who disappeared. So that's why I called it the Glastonbury Triangle, because it's about people disappearing in Glastonbury for no apparent reason. And so the journalist follows this up. And it so happens that one of the people who's disappeared is his new girlfriend. So he's particularly motivated to track down, what's going on.
Right.
And he gets drawn into a cult that's sort of a female supremacist cult who worship Gaia and that kind of thing. But the people who join this cult, they vanish. They get drawn in and they get taken somewhere. And, and he follows through, and he gets taken away to this place that nobody can find. He spends some time there and follows up, and various things happen. And he's just in time to prevent his girlfriend being turned into a mermaid, because there's a mad scientist who's working for the Marquis, because the Marquis wants to set up a new theme park based on the ancient Greek legends. So he wants to bring in all the ancient Greek creatures like satyrs and centaurs and half man, half horse, and all that. So the people who have disappeared are being sucked into his secret laboratory and then going to be turned into these creatures.
Nice.
So he kind of foils that plot. So that's the main thrust of that book.
Nice. Then we go. Okay, now we're into the most recent. We to keep us all safe. Dystopia
That's
chilling
close
to home. That's the one where we Jim's exiled back to England to stay with his uncle and aunt after years in Vietnam.
That's the one. Yeah. So yes, as you say, the main character has been thrown out of Vietnam because Vietnam reckoned that this new disease that's appeared must be caused by foreigners. So the answer is to throw out the foreigners, which we kind of saw when we had COVID, that some countries behaved like that. And of course, that's the throwback for everybody. When anything bad happens, blame the foreigners. So it's something that occurs in practically every country. So he's back in the UK, and he has to sort of make a new start for himself. And he's sucked into this pandemic situation where there's lockdowns and all the things we saw with COVID. People overzealously sort of enforcing the lockdown rules and patrolling the streets to make sure that people aren't out without permits. And he has an interfering landlady who wants to know where he is all the time. And he's evading all these rules because he's got a permit to look after his uncle and aunt who aren't in best of health, and he has to tend their allotments, their little. Do you know what an allotment is? It's a sort of a little bit of land that you can grow vegetables and things on, which we have in the UK. So his uncle has an allotment, and he's too sick to run it at the moment. So the main character can go in and do it for him. He gets tied into, meets a woman who's a witch, and gets drawn into their coven. So I bring in the sort of the strange religion type things into it that way, and also the anti-vax folk. So it's all the people with conspiracy theories about vaccines and all the rest of it. So I was kind of weaving in all the things we saw when we had the actual COVID pandemic, but maybe turned up the volume a little bit. And there's a billionaire who who's developing the vaccines and making money out of it, and he gets kidnapped and all the rest of it. And the guy ends up working for the billionaire. That's how it ends. So he goes over. That's right. Goes over to the other side. Yeah.
Nice.
That's what it's all about. It's cash.
Yeah, I just ordered the Glastonbury triangle. That sounded really good, so I actually just ordered it.
Did you get vaccinated, Stephen?
Yeah, I've been vaccinated several times. Yeah. There's a sort of regular.
You don't think it's a conspiracy?
Program.
Just to I got the original and one booster, and I said I'm done.
Yeah.
I can't. I don't continue. I don't want to continue on. With this, it just seems like madness. You go to the every corner of the Walgreens, which is a little pharmacy type store, and they want to. Here's your free flu shot. They want to give you flu shots, and I don't know.
Yeah, I think I do have an annual flu shot because they're different every year.
Yeah,
it's a new strain every year. So from that point of view, it's not the same one again.
Yeah.
From the point of view of the COVID thing, I'm a little bit. I mean, they offer it for free. I haven't had any problem from it, so I'm not bothered. So if they offer it, I'll have it. But I can see that it's probably getting diminishing returns. Once you've been vaccinated a few times, what else are you gaining? And also, I've had COVID as well. Have you had it yourselves?
I did the first one and one booster. Did you?
I had to get the first one and a booster. I never got COVID, but I got sick right before they announced it, and I got really sick for about 2 days. I still went to work, but then I'm a garbage man, so I rarely get sick. Yeah. I'm exposed to everything, so I have a really high tolerance. So I don't normally get sick.
I got it, and I wasn't. It wasn't bad, but I did get the taste and smell thing. And my taste and smell screwed up for about 5-6 weeks.
Oh, so you did have that? Okay,
I had that too.
Yeah, right. But it came back. Not
as bad.
I still don't have the taste I used to.
Oh, really? I know. I think I was pretty back to normal once it cleared up. But that was the thing I got. But I wasn't. It was just like bad cold. It wasn't anything. But I had been vaccinated. I had at least two. I had the main.
Yeah,
it's probably a good idea. I don't know.
Yeah,
I had to, because in order to go to like concerts, you had to have a vaccine card. So I never get I never get the flu shot. I haven't had the flu shot ever, but I had to get it in order to go to like a concert or something. So that was the only time I got it.
And so I have to ask this: what given the current geopolitical landscape,
here we go. Politics.
I have to ask. Is the UK laughing at the US for all these things that Trump is trying to do, like Greenland, like take over Greenland? What do you guys think about that?
I don't think it. I mean, personally, I don't think it's a laughing matter,
right.
And I think probably most people in the UK don't think it's a laughing matter. It's very dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What we're going to see is the breakup of NATO,
right,
which can only favour Putin and China. I mean, what good is it doing? And the US already has a treaty with Denmark that gives it a complete free hand to do whatever it likes militarily. Greenland,
right.
They can set up as many bases as they like. At one time, they had 17 bases.
Whoa!
And they don't need to even ask Greenland's permission. The treaty allows them to just do it, and all they have to do is inform Greenland what they're doing. As long as there's no obligation to ask permission, and Greenland can't deny it. So, as far as defending Greenland against Russian incursion or something, that the US already has complete ability to do that. So, from a sort of strategic defense point of view, it's pointless.
It's
and so the only thing they're trying to get is the minerals. But the minerals are extraordinarily difficult to extract anyway. So it's not something that you can get a lot of. And the main limitation with rare earths, which I think they're talking about, is refining capacity. It's not that the rare earths aren't there except in China. It's that China has 90% of the refining capacity. So the thing is to get the refining capacity set up, and then you can buy the rare earths from all sorts of places like Australia or South America and all kinds of places other than China. So and you can buy them from Greenland. I mean, why not just buy why do you have to buy the territory? Why can't you just buy the rare earths?
Right.
So the whole thing is just completely stupid and extraordinarily dangerous, and as far as I can see.
Yeah.
What about the immigrant with what Trump's doing with since he came back about immigration? How do you guys? I mean, you have some issues with immigration over there too, don't you?
Yeah, it's a very hot topic. And I think all over Europe as well. That's not unique to the US. I think
immigration's normally been a problem. It's not on spotlight though.
Is there anything being done over there to help stop the influx? Is it Muslim or what? What is the main? There's some.
I think it's anywhere that's poor and war torn. I think they want to get out, go somewhere that's nicer. So a lot of them are Muslim. So because a lot of the countries are Muslim, but it's not only Muslims.
It's everything.
Everything, yeah. Anywhere that's poor.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing happening here. Is anything being done? Well, you're an island, so it's kind of like it's hard to defend.
I don't think they're forcefully pulling them out like they do here.
You're not just dragging them out and sending them back like they are here.
Yeah, no, I don't think they.
Well, I think it would be popular.
Right.
Yeah, it kind of is here too.
Yeah.
And I think that that Farage and the Reform, the new party, the new far right party that we've got, it's in the ascendancy at the moment. They look like set to win the next election, and God knows what they'll do. I think they could be pretty similar. So we're not there yet.
The same thing will happen to what's happening here.
When is the election over there? Is it March?
The election, the election doesn't take place on a particular date in the UK because the way it works is there's a 5-year term.
Right.
But the Prime Minister can go to the King and say, I want to have an election now. And he can do that at any time.
Really?
Yeah.
When I'm most popular.
Exactly, yeah. So they don't normally last the full 5 years unless they're terribly unpopular and
right.
Sometimes they do last out the full 5 years. So if he does last out the full 5 years, that takes us to 29 before the election.
Wow.
But would he go earlier than that? At the moment, I can't see it because any time he wins the election now, Farage is going to win.
Right.
He's absolutely riding high, and what it's done is it's split the right wing because the regular Conservatives are a bit like happened in Canada. Canada, they had a new party came in and
it took over, right?
Totally crushed the Conservatives, and then eventually they merged again to form like a new Conservative. So I think we might be going the same track because the Conservatives, the regular Conservatives, have gone down drastically, and the Farage is way out ahead.
Oh, shit.
And Labour are very unpopular. The current left wing government is and they're split as well because there's a lot of defection to the Greens. The Greens are like the new far left.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So we've got we're getting into a multi-party situation here. In the past, we've had Conservative and Labour alternating for many years, just almost two-party dominating everything with very small Liberal Party and a few fringe party. Right now, it's up for grabs. There's about 4 parties in contention.
Right.
Anything could happen.
Yeah, they're thinking Trump's been in 13 months. They're already talking impeachment. So it's
they were doing that before too.
Not
as much.
If the midterms don't go the Conservatives' way, it might get ugly.
Yeah,
something could really happen this time. But he's doing all he can while he's in there. I don't know what's going to happen ultimately. Well, Stephen, thank you. I appreciate you got 5 books.
We covered them all, right?
Covered all the books. The most recent, No Free Speech for Hate and To Keep Us All Safe. Now we can get these on Amazon.
Amazon, yep. I just ordered mine,
Yep.
so.
Okay, you can pick them up on Amazon. How are the other ones selling, Stephen? Or how long ago did you do the first book, I should ask?
Like
2023.
23.
Wow, you're cranking them out.
Was the first book, and I had 2 come out in 24 and 2 in 25.
They selling okay? You doing okay on Amazon?
Yeah, I could do better.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think I'm starting to get a little bit of traction now. Getting sort of more people, contacting me and wanting to talk to me about them and that kind of thing. So yeah, it's picking up a bit.
Good. Okay, well, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you, Stephen Ford.
Yep.
Author extraordinaire, 5 books. How many more are you going to do, Stephen?
I don't know. I'm a bit preoccupied at the moment with other things, but we'll see.
Yeah, life does happen, doesn't it? All right, thanks for joining us,
Yes.
Matt. Thank you very much. Thanks
you.
for listening to the Alien Pro podcast, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, Stephen.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Have a good night.